Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling history on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is November 4th, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1905, the Blonde Bear himself, Everett Marshall. 1962, the luchador known as El Hijo del Diablo. And we're going to keep that positivity train a-rolling. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for November 4th. A super short trip in the Wayback Machine today as we start in 1980, where we see Dory Funk Jr. defeat Dusty Rhodes for the Florida State Heavyweight title in Tampa, Florida, ending Rhodes' 10th and final run with the belt. 2 years later in 1982, Greg Valentine defeats Wahoo McDaniel for the NWA US title in Norfolk, Virginia, ending Wahoo's third reign and starting the second run with the strap for himself. Fast forwarding 6 years to 1988, They Live, the John Carpenter directed sci-fi movie featuring Roddy Piper in his first starring role in a feature film, is released. The movie would gross nearly $5 million in its first 3 days in the theaters, finishing number 1 for the weekend. Grabbing my flannel and going to the decade of grunge, 1991. Tom Pritchard defeats Eric Embry for the USWA Southern Heavyweight title in Memphis, Tennessee, ending Embry's second title reign and starting the second for Pritchard. On the same show, Doug Masters and Bart Sawyer defeat Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller for the USWA Tag Team titles, ending their third and final reign as champions. And last but not least, 1994, Too Cold Scorpio defeats Jason Knight for the ECW World Television title, only to lose it later that night to Dean Malenko, who was managed by Jason. Those were your super short but sweet pro wrestling history highlights for November 4th. I'm the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.